It was a busy, busy week for the Arizona State Sun Devils football program, but don't worry. I'm here to catch you up on everything you missed on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
Are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Thank you guys, as always, for making us your first listen of the day. Remember, this podcast is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. If you want to check us out in a visual platform, wherever you're getting your podcast, though, hit like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Stay in touch with that content by following me on Twitter. You can get me at RichieBrads36. You can get the podcast as well at LO_Sun Devils. Before we hop into today's conversation, today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right. Man, was this week a doozy in more ways than one for Arizona State. The basketball team on a 7-game win streak. Talked about that on yesterday's pod. So if you missed that and you want to know what's going on with Arizona State Sun Devils basketball, make sure you go back and check that episode out. It's a great year to be a Sun Devil if you're a basketball fan. Football, lots going on. You've had some decommits. You've had a couple recruits within the last week or so, but you have seriously had a lot going on with the transfer portal. A whopping 15 players have entered the portal, but 6 kids have already come in. I'm going to rattle off these names real quick for you guys. Quarterbacks, Paul Tyson, and this is not officially official, but it is basically going to happen. Emory Jones are in the transfer portal. So Tyson and Jones in the transfer portal, running back Daniyel Ngata, wide receiver Cam Johnson, offensive lineman LaDarius Henderson and Ben Scott, defensive linemen Joe Moore, Anthony Cooper, and Omarr Norman Lott, defensive backs Keon and Kawan Markham, the brothers, they entered back in October, kicker Jace Feely, punter Eddie Czaplicki, and long snappers John Furlman and Gage King. They are all in the transfer portal. Coming in for Arizona State, quarterback Jacob Conover, running back DeCarlos Brooks, defensive lineman Tristan Monday, linebacker safety hybrid Krew Jackson, punter Josh Carlson, and long snapper Slater Zellers. I should preface this with those 6 kids that are coming to Arizona State. They are returning home. These are Valley products. That's right. Kenny Dillingham promised to activate the Valley, and that's exactly what's going on so far. We knew that there was going to be a lot of transition this year, probably next year too, for this Arizona State Sun Devils program. It's a brand new coaching staff with, a handful of guys coming back, but it's a new head coach. It's a new philosophy at Arizona State. This is not at all what anyone is familiar with. So there's going to be some guys who are looking for other opportunities. Maybe it's because they're not a fit for what Dillingham is going to want to do moving forward. Maybe there's NIL opportunities. Maybe they just want to go to a better team that's not going to be in a rebuilding stage of their program right now. All totally understandable. So 15 losses, that's a lot of kids. But here's the other thing with that. I don't look at this and sit here and see to myself the jaw-dropping, just bone-crushing blows that the team had to deal with last year. Last year alone, you lost your starting quarterback with Jaden Daniels. You lost the guy who was going to be your starting running back in Chip Trayanum. You lost your number 1 receiver in Ricky Pearsall, plus several other receivers. You lost a couple offensive linemen. Spencer Lovell left. There was another kid as well. I can't remember. Defensively, You lost Eric Gentry, who was an all freshman player in the country. You lost Jermaine Lole, who was arguably your best player heading into the year. You lost several other guys on the defensive side of the ball as well. It was crushing. It felt like every single person who entered the portal, you were like, holy crap, how do we recover from this? This year, you're losing a lot of contributors, but there hasn't been that departure yet where I sit there and I go, oh my God, how on earth do you recover from this? All of these departures are guys who can be replaced. And I mean that in like the nicest way, because they're all these guys that Arizona State is losing are talented individuals who will make an impact at their next stops. But for Arizona State, in the state that they're in right now, the rebuilding, retooling, and refiguring everything out, these are guys you could afford to lose, I guess, is the way you could put it. Again, these are all talented kids. I'm sorry that all 15 of them are going. I truly wish that they would stay. And, some of them I'm very, very biased towards. Cam Johnson, still love you, Cam. Still one of my favorite guys I've ever gotten to interview. If you're listening, good luck wherever you go, man. I really wish you the best. But these are guys that you can move forward without, I should say. I think the biggest blows have to be Daniyel Ngata, who was in line to start this year before they got Valade. He would have been in line to start this year, I imagine. LaDarius Henderson and Ben Scott both hurt on the offensive line big time. Losing as many defensive linemen as you did certainly stinks. And Eddie Czaplicki was a first-team all Pac-12 punter. Losing him stinks. For what it's worth, Josh Carlson, the kid that's coming in from New Mexico to take Czaplicki's place, is one of the better punters in America. So if you're going to replace an all-conference punter with someone, you might as well replace them with someone who's equally as good. So there's been a lot of subtraction so far from this program. And not to mention, there's still an opportunity for certain guys to declare for the draft if they would like. Elijah Badger is eligible as a redshirt sophomore. I don't see him declaring, but he could. Jalen Conyers did say that he is coming back to the program after teasing everybody and scaring us into thinking that he was leaving. But Kenny Dillingham didn't do him any favors when he quote tweeted his announcement that he was going to have big news with a bunch of crying emojis. Oh man, I saw that and I was like, Dilly is either like trolling us or he's trying to brace us for the blow. But you've got some big guys coming back right now. We're going to talk about them more in just a moment. However, I'm going to hop into a quick break for us and talk about our friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball, soccer, and esports. We've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action happening right now at BetOnline, where the game starts. And as always, guys, I'm going to continue to promote them. Make sure that you check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. Make it your second listen of the day. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you're getting your podcasts. So back to the conversation at hand here for Arizona State sports. This is exciting and scary all at the same time, because this is just a situation that is so unique. You lost all these kids last year, and you really didn't have a lot of guys that were coming in to replace them. This year, you've already got 6 kids in just over a week. or a little less than a week, I should say, since the portal opened on Monday. That's a lot of guys coming back. And you still have some big name guys returning as well. So to talk real quickly about the guys who are staying and coming back right now, your offense. Trenton Bourguet's returning. He's your quarterback one as of now. You have Elijah Badger and Jalen Conyers and Gio Sanders that are all returning as well. Tevin White is returning at running back. Messiah Swinson returning at tight end. You have got so much ammunition on offense right now that you should be very, very excited about having an offensive-minded head coach. You might be able to seriously put up some big-time numbers against teams. Like it's exciting to think. Defensively, it's going to be a bit of a mess for sure, but there's still talent. The thing that I like about the guys that have been brought back to Arizona State through the transfer portal, they all have an opportunity to make immediate day one impacts. Jacob Conover, the quarterback at BYU, he could beat out Trenton Bourguet to be the starter. Bourguet is not guaranteed anything right now. In fact, who knows? Maybe another quarterback is coming through the transfer portal. Maybe Israel Carter, the 3-star commit, is going to end up being the starter. Anything is but guaranteed for the quarterback situation right now. So Conover could be the starting quarterback. DeCarlos Brooks, Valadie, and Daniyel Ngata are out. This is a big opportunity for Brooks to come in and see immediate, like maybe not starting time, but a lot of touches. Arizona State likes to run the football. Tristan Monday, defensive lineman, he could be starting right now. You lost those three, Cooper, Norman Lott, and more to the transfer portal. You also lost Revez Moore, Nesta Jade Silvera, and TJ Pesifea to eligibility. This is going to be basically a brand new defensive line short of BJ Green and Robbie Harrison and a couple other guys. So Tristan Monday has a great opportunity to start immediately. The linebacker safety hybrid, Krew Jackson, Kyle Sully, and Merlin Robertson are gone at linebacker. Corey Bethley is gone at safety. There's an opportunity at both positions for him to come in and play immediately. Josh Carlson will take over for Eddie Czaplicki. Slater Zellers will take over as the starting long snapper for the team. So 6 guys coming into the portal for you right now, all of them fill immediate holes for the team. All of them have the potential to be immediate day one impact players. That you couldn't draw it up better if you tried for a transfer class. And we're not done yet. There are still guys that are being heavily pursued right now. There's plenty of hyper talented 4-star players out there to come in. And you see tons of guys that are already talking about the program in a very, very good way and making it seem like they're interested in coming to Arizona State. I know for a wide receiver who just entered the portal from Texas A&M, Chase Lane, he tweeted out a picture of the devil emoji. And you can read into that as much as you would like, but the kid is in the transfer portal, and there's been a lot going on with the Sun Devils that is very attractive to a prospect like Chase. Chase Lane could be joining us here at Arizona State very soon. You have prospects that have not decided on a spot yet. There's a tight end whose name is completely escaping me at the moment. There's Jacoby Lane, the 4-star receiver who's currently committed to USC, but who knows? Maybe he gets swayed into coming back and staying in the Valley. In fact, if you missed it, earlier in the week, Kenny Dillingham was on Arizona Sports 98.7 FM and was talking about the importance and the value of staying in Arizona. Well, not so much Arizona, but just staying where you grew up and becoming kind of like an icon and like a household name by growing your brand where you came from. And then they asked him if he was speaking about anyone in particular, and he said he knows who he is. And then Jacoby Lane tweeted out, "I'm listening." Dude, like, you clearly are reaching these kids and they're responding and they're reciprocal about this. So who knows? Maybe four-star, highly graded four-star receiver Jacoby Lane decommits from USC. How great would that be, by the way? And stays at home in Tempe and gives you more ammunition. Jacob Cowing, the wide receiver from U of A, who just led the Pac-12 in receiving yards, is in the portal with an offer from Arizona State. There's still so many massive pieces left to fall here for Arizona State. We are just scratching the surface on the things that are yet to come right now. Real quick, before we continue, I want to one more time talk to you guys about Locked On Sports Today. That's what it's called. For your next listen of the day, make it Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, instant reactions, and big game recaps, plus, of course, the take of the day. It's available on this app, YouTube, or wherever you're getting your prospects. Let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up in a bow and put it to rest. There are some great things that are happening for Arizona State sports right now. The basketball program is in really, really good shape. The football program, I tell you what, I am doing everything in my power to temper my expectations. And I mean, it takes a lot right at this moment. Normally, I can be a pretty fair fan. I think sometimes I can maybe even be a little cynical. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am so excited for this next chapter of Arizona State sports. Arizona State Sun Devils football is going to be back a lot sooner than people realize. I'm not saying first year is going to be like Lincoln Riley just did at USC and be a Pac-12 runner-up and a 2-loss, 11-win program like USC was this year. But I don't see a reason why he can't be bowl eligible next year. If you came into the first year coming off a 3-9 season and went 6-6, that is a massive, massive win for you. That's huge. Like earth-shattering how big of a move that would be. You could potentially be better. You could be a 7-win team. You could get back to that 7 to 8 win stretch that we look for as Arizona State fans. I truly believe that this rebuild is going to go pretty quick. They've got the right guys in place. They've made some great hires too. If you guys haven't checked out the hires for the team, I will pull that up for you right now. Give me 2 seconds to pull up the current staff that we have in place. Can I see the current staff? Wikipedia, will you be my best friend? While I'm looking that up, this is definitely being taken very, very seriously by Kenny Dillingham and by the students that are helping to recruit other guys, the student athletes, I should say. Like obviously normal kids who don't have much to do with the program aren't going to really be able to do much, but you still are able to make a difference by having the student athletes say, you know, come to Arizona State. It's a great program. It's up on the rise, kind of stuff like that. I see Isaiah Glass, the offensive tackle, who people know he frustrates me, but to his credit, he's out there on Twitter. He's talking to guys. He's like, hey, you know, it's a good decision. Come back home. We're excited for you, Krew Jackson and other guys to come back. He's out there talking. He's promoting the brand. Other guys are promoting ASU as well. This is huge for you to regain your confidence, your swagger, all that good stuff. It's very, very important that Arizona State is continuing to build upon itself right now by just emphasizing how important it is to buy in. The whole hashtag activate the valley. That's huge. getting these kids to realize the worth of Arizona State football is going to turn this program around a lot quicker than maybe we could have ever anticipated. There's a lot to be excited about that's going on with Arizona State, though. And I am very, very excited about the steps that are going to be coming up very, very soon. But for now, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. So, as always, thank you guys so much for making us your first listen of the day. Remember, this podcast is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, if you want to check us out in a visual platform. But of course, wherever you're getting your podcast, hit like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Content is football and basketball. It's a great time to like and subscribe to this podcast because basketball is booming and Arizona State football is going to be going through all sorts of crazy stuff right now. So make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. Follow me on Twitter. You can find me at Richie Bradshaw36, and you can find the podcast as well at LO_Sun Devils. But until next time, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.